Hi, and welcome to another edition of PraxHacks. Today, we're going to talk about the source-based essay for this Praxis writing test for the 5723 or 5722, and talk a little bit about how this is scored and how what you do might affect your score. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, which is Upside. Upside is the app that you can download for free, and it pays you back money every time you buy gas or buy certain food items. If you use the promo code down there, UWVQ4, you can get an extra 15 cents a gallon on your first fill up. So that's real money back into your pocket, and you can still use whatever rewards cards you might already have. So upsides, extra money back for you. So let's start by looking at the rubric. The rubric is what the scorers use to determine your score for both essays, but today we're going to be looking at particularly the source-based essay. Now, just a little bit back up here. What is a source-based essay? Just real quick, a source-based essay is you reading two passages and then writing about those two passages. Usually it's a controversial topic, so you don't want to write an opinionated piece. This is just retelling what's in those two passages. So to get a score of a 4, and remember we've talked before about you want at least a 4, hopefully a 5, but a score of a 4 shows adequately explains why the concerns are important, supporting the explanations with some links between the two sources, and adequate reasons, examples, or details, incorporates information from both sources to identify and explain important concerns regarding the issues discussed in the sources, shows control in organization and development of ideas, displays adequate use of language, shows control in grammar usage mechanics, but may display some errors, and last but not least, cites both sources when paraphrasing or quoting. Let's dig in a little bit more and see what exactly this is all talking about. So first of all, adequately explains why concerns are important, supporting the explanation with some links between the two sources and adequate reasons, examples, or details. What they're looking for you to do is to read these two sources and then explain what they said. It could be as simple as a summary. But the other part of this is you've got to explain why whatever topic they're talking about is important to us in general, and the link between the two bits of writing, the two sources. Usually, one is for a topic and the other one is against a topic, but not always. So use your thinking cap. This is a good essay to do some pre-writing with, and a little bit of brainstorming, and get your ideas and and ducks in a row, as they say, and get a good sense of organization of what you're going to do to explain why these are important, and then kind of link the two sources together. The next one is incorporates information from both sources to identify and explain important concerns regarding the issues discussed in the sources. This is where, and I put up a Venn diagram, Venn diagrams from about 5th grade of explaining the two sources and how they are very much a Venn diagram. How are they different? How are they the same? This is very close to that previous bullet point on the rubric, but this one, the last one is a little bit more about organization. This one is identifying those important concerns. This is where hopefully you get a topic that's not too confusing and something you're at least fairly familiar with, and can read it intelligently and then retell or summarize what that source said. Next one shows control and organization and development of ideas. I'm going to suggest at least a 3-paragraph organization. You want a good introduction, and then I'm going to suggest 1 paragraph is about one source and summarizes. The next paragraph is about the other source and summarizes. You do not need to write a conclusion if you have a good, strong introduction. Or I'm going to say the reverse is true also. You could start right off summarizing each of the 2 sources and then give a really good, strong conclusion. The introduction and the conclusion is a good place to show, to talk about that compare and contrast and why these ideas are important. And then these middle paragraphs would just be a summary of each source. We'll talk more about that in another video talking about the source-based essay, because I could talk about this slide a long time. But for now, just think about, you want a paragraph about each source and either an intro or a conclusion. Displays adequate use of language. You want to mix up your vocabulary. Be careful doing this. Make sure it's words you can spell and use correctly, but you don't want to use, I'm going to call them generic words, good, bad, nice, those words that are overused. You want to spice up your vocabulary, use a little bit more higher level vocabulary if possible, pull words out of the passages. And also the passages are a good way of kind of checking your spelling. If you can find a word that you're having trouble with up in the passage, then go ahead, and it's kind of a cheat sheet that they give you where you can learn and know how to spell that word correctly. Remember, again, there's no spell check or grammar check on this test. But we'll get into more of that about now. Shows control in usage, grammar, and mechanics, but may contain some errors. This will still get you a 4, not this writing here, but if you just have a couple of errors, you can still get a 4. It does not have to be perfect, completely perfect to get the 4. The more perfect it is, the better it is, the higher chance of getting higher points, but it does not have to be perfect, but it needs to be as good as you can get it. So be careful on this one. And then last bullet point for this one, and this is the only, source base is the only one that has the paraphrasing and quoting and using citations. Your argumentative does not need, but the source base, you've got to cite your sources. Now, with it just being paragraphs or I'm trying to think of the word, just, a source, you don't have a lot of information. You may just have an author's name, maybe a title, what they like to see, what the scorers like to see. And we talked about earlier in this video, a paragraph about one of the sources. Pull a quote from that paragraph or from that source, and then cite it correctly. Remember, quotation marks, right? Punctuation inside the quotation marks, the author's last name in parentheses, and then the parentheses inside a punctuation mark. So again, I put blah, 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 lots of blah, 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 quotation, and then cited by the author. This is how to cite a quote. For a paraphrase, you would put the author's last name in parentheses at the end of the paragraph to get your 4 points for doing the citations. Okay, that is going to wrap us up here for tonight. If you want more information, if you'd like some more help towards studying for this test, you can find us on Amazon, PraxHacks Core Writing 5723. We have a study guide for this. We also have a study guide for the Writing 5713, I believe. But both of those study guides are out there. Also, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, drop us a comment down below, and let us know what else you would like to see us cover as far as getting ready for the Praxis or any other of these high stakes tests. And we'll be glad to do that. And that is about all for today. Hope to see you again soon, and good luck on your tests.